The sky above New Tokyo burned orange and red. Massive ships hung in the clouds like dark mountains. They had come without warning, just like all the others before them. Admiral Helena Vasquez stood in the command center deep beneath the Swiss Alps. Screens covered every wall. Each screen showed a different city. Each city was dying. "Mumbai is gone," said a young officer. His voice shook. "They hit the defense grid first. There was nothing we could do." Helena closed her eyes for a moment. Mumbai. 12 million people. Gone in an hour. This was the 7th time. 7 different alien species had attacked Earth in the last 200 years. The Krixan came first in 2147. They burned half of Africa before humanity pushed them back. Then came the Morvathi, the Zelkari, the Then Collective, the Urathi Swarm, and the Iron Lords of Proxima. Each time, humanity survived. Each time, they rebuilt. Each time, they grew stronger. But this time felt different. The Vrakthari Dominion was not like the others. They were patient. They were organized. They had watched humanity fight for 2 centuries. They had learned from the mistakes of those who came before. "Admiral," another officer called out. "The Vrakthari flagship is entering atmosphere over Europe. They are broadcasting a message." Helena nodded. "Put it on screen." The main screen flickered. A face appeared. It was not human. The Vrakthari looked like tall lizards with 4 arms and scales that shifted color with their emotions. This one's scales were bright gold. He was proud. He was confident. "Humans of Earth," the alien commander said. His voice was deep and cold. "I am High Commander Zekthar of the Vrakthari Dominion. Your resistance is foolish. You are alone in this galaxy. No one will save you. No one will mourn you. Surrender now, and some of you may live as servants. Fight, and you will all die." The screen went dark. Helena turned to her officers. Young faces, scared faces. They had grown up hearing stories of the invasions. They had trained their whole lives for this moment, but training was not the same as watching your world burn. "Get me Director Okonkwo," she said. "Tell him it is time for the Council to meet." The United Earth Council gathered in a bunker that had existed since the First Contact War. It was built into the heart of a mountain. The walls were 300 meters of solid rock and reinforced steel. Even if the entire surface of Earth was destroyed, this bunker would survive. 12 people sat around a long table. They were the leaders of humanity: presidents, prime ministers, generals, and scientists. They looked tired. They looked afraid, but they did not look defeated. At the head of the table sat Director Emmanuel Okonkwo. He was 93 years old. His hair was white. His hands were wrinkled, but his eyes were sharp and clear. He had lived through 3 invasions. He had lost his wife in the Urathi attack. He had lost his son fighting the Iron Lords. He had nothing left to lose except Earth itself. "Report," he said simply. Admiral Vasquez stood. "The situation is critical, Director. The Vrakthari have destroyed our orbital defense stations. They control the space around Earth. Their ground forces have landed in Asia, Europe, and North America. Our military is fighting back, but we are losing ground every hour." "How long can we hold?" asked the Prime Minister of the European Federation. "Days," Helena said. "Maybe a week if we are lucky. But the Vrakthari have reserves. We do not." Silence filled the room. This was not the first time humanity had faced extinction, but it might be the last. Director Okonkwo stood slowly. His bones ached. His heart was heavy, but his voice was steady. "I have a question for this council," he said. "A question that has been passed down from director to director since 2198. A question that no one has ever had to answer until now." He looked at each face around the table. Some of them knew what he was about to say. Most did not. "Is it time?" The room grew very still. The Prime Minister of Asia looked confused. The President of the American Union frowned. But 3 people at the table, the oldest ones, suddenly went pale. "Emmanuel," whispered General Morrison. "Are you sure?" "We are out of options, old friend," Okonkwo replied. "The Vrakthari will not stop. They will kill us all and take our planet, unless we show everyone that attacking Earth has a cost they cannot pay." He walked to the far end of the bunker. There was a wall there that looked like all the other walls, plain gray stone. But when Okonkwo pressed his hand against it, the stone slid away. Behind the wall was a vault. The vault door was thick and covered in dust. It had not been opened in 150 years. Okonkwo entered a code. The vault hissed and clicked. Slowly, the door swung open. Inside was a small room. Empty shelves lined the walls. In the center was a single metal table. On the table was a red folder. The folder was old. The paper was yellow with age. But the words printed on the cover were still clear. Asterisk, asterisk, Prometheus, contingency, last resort, asterisk, asterisk. Okonkwo picked up the folder. His hands trembled slightly. Not from fear. From the weight of what he held. He walked back to the council table and placed the folder in front of Admiral Vasquez. "Admiral," he said, "I am authorizing you to read this file. Inside you will find the truth about what humanity has been building for the last 200 years. A weapon, a deterrent, a promise." Helena opened the folder. She began to read. As she read, her face changed. First confusion, then disbelief, then horror, then something else, something that might have been hope, or might have been despair. "This is real?" she whispered. "Every word," Okonkwo said. "We can actually do this? We have been able to do it for 150 years. We have simply chosen not to. Until now." Helena set the folder down. Her hands were shaking. "Director," she said slowly, "if we use this, if we even threaten to use this, everything changes. The galaxy will never see us the same way again." Okonkwo nodded. His eyes were sad but certain. "That is the point, Admiral. For 200 years the galaxy has seen us as prey, as victims, as a species to be conquered and enslaved. It is time they saw us as something else." "As what?" Director Okonkwo looked at the burning cities on the screens. He thought of his wife, his son, the billions who had died, the billions more who would die if he did nothing. "As the most dangerous species in the galaxy," he said. "As the species that will make them regret every single attack. As the species that gave them one final warning, and meant it." He turned to the council. "Ladies and gentlemen, prepare the broadcast. Tonight, we speak to the galaxy. Tonight, we tell them what happens if they ever attack Earth again." Above them, the Vrakthari ships continued their assault. They did not know that everything was about to change. They did not know that humanity had been waiting for this moment. They did not know that they had just made the worst mistake in galactic history. Admiral Helena Vasquez sat alone in a small room. The Prometheus file lay open on the table in front of her. She had read it 3 times. Each time, she hoped she had misunderstood. Each time, she realized she had not. The door opened. Director Okonkwo entered and sat across from her. "You have questions," he said. It was not a question. "How?" Helena asked. "How did we build something like this without anyone knowing?" Okonkwo leaned back in his chair. His eyes grew distant, looking at memories from long ago. "Let me tell you a story, Admiral. A story that begins with the First Contact War. The year was 2147. Humanity had just discovered that they were not alone in the universe. They had expected this moment to be wonderful. They had dreamed of meeting alien friends, of sharing knowledge, of exploring the stars together. Instead, they met the Crixen. The Crixen did not want friendship. They wanted Earth. They wanted its water, its metals, its location. They did not care that humans lived there. To them, humans were just animals, pests to be removed. The war lasted 3 years. Humanity won, but the cost was terrible. 2 billion people died. Half of Africa was turned into a wasteland. The great cities of the world lay in ruins. After the victory, humanity celebrated. They had defeated an alien invasion. They had proven that they could survive. But some people did not celebrate. Some people saw the truth. One of those people was a scientist named Dr. Yuki Tanaka. She had studied the Crixen ships. She had analyzed their weapons. And she had discovered something that terrified her. The Crixan were not the strongest species in the galaxy. They were not even close. They were just the first ones to find Earth. Dr. Tanaka gathered a small group of trusted scientists and military leaders. She showed them her findings. The galaxy was full of civilizations far more powerful than the Crixan. It was only a matter of time before another one came. "We were lucky this time," she told them. "We will not be lucky forever. We need a way to make sure that no one ever attacks Earth again." They called their project Prometheus, after the Greek god who gave fire to humanity. At first, they tried to build better weapons, bigger ships, stronger shields. But it was not enough. There would always be a species with better technology. There would always be someone stronger. Then Dr. Tanaka had a different idea. We cannot be the strongest, she said. But we can be the most dangerous. We can make sure that anyone who destroys Earth will not survive to enjoy their victory. She proposed something radical. Something terrible. Something that would change humanity forever. They would build devices capable of making stars explode. They would hide these devices near the home stars of every hostile species in the galaxy, and they would create a system that would activate all of these devices automatically if Earth was destroyed. It took 50 years to develop the technology. It took another 100 years to build and deploy the devices. Thousands of secret missions. Thousands of people who dedicated their lives to a project they could never talk about. The devices were called stellar collapse initiators. Each one was no bigger than a car, but each one contained technology that could disrupt the core of a star, causing it to collapse and explode in a supernova. They were invisible to sensors. They had no power signatures. They floated silently in the darkness of space, waiting. By the year 2200, Earth had placed over 3,000 devices throughout the galaxy. Every species that had shown hostility toward humanity had devices orbiting their home stars. Every major military installation. Every important colony. And then Earth did something even more extreme. They built deadman switches. Hidden bases throughout the galaxy monitored Earth constantly. If Earth went silent, if no human transmissions were detected for more than 72 hours, the switches would activate. Every stellar collapse initiator would fire at once. The entire galaxy would burn. Helena looked up from the file. Her face was pale. We turned ourselves into a bomb, she said. A bomb that destroys everything, if we die. Yes, Okonkwo admitted. That is exactly what we did. But the other invasions, the Morvathi, the Zelkari, all of them we never used it. We fought them with conventional weapons. We let millions of our people die. Why? Okonkwo closed his eyes. Because the moment we use this weapon, even the threat of it, we become something else. Something feared. Something hated. We can never go back to being the species that asked for peace. We become the species that threatened to destroy the galaxy. He opened his eyes and looked at her. Every director has faced this choice, Admiral. Every director has asked themselves, is this invasion bad enough? Have we suffered enough? Are we desperate enough to become monsters? And they always said no, until now. Okonkwo stood and walked to a small window. Outside, the mountain was quiet, but they both knew that above them, cities were burning. The Vrakthari are different, he said. They are not here to raid us. They are not here to teach us a lesson. They are here to end us. To wipe humanity from the galaxy forever. He turned to face her. I will not let that happen. Not while I have the power to stop it. Helena stood up. She walked to the window and stood beside him. If we do this, she said slowly, if we tell the galaxy what we have built, they will hate us. They will fear us. Every species will look at humanity and see a threat. Yes, we will never be trusted again. Probably not. Is that what you want? For humanity to be known as the species that could destroy everything? Okonkwo was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with sadness. When I was young, Admiral, I wanted humanity to be known for art, for music, for kindness. I wanted us to be the species that brought peace to the galaxy. He turned to look at her directly. But the galaxy did not want peace. The galaxy wanted our planet and our deaths. 7 times they came to kill us. 7 times they showed us that friendship means nothing in this universe. Only power matters. Only the ability to make your enemies fear you. He pointed at the file. This is not what I wanted humanity to become. But this is what the galaxy forced us to become. We did not start this war. But we will end it. We will end it so completely that no one will ever dare to start it again. Helena picked up the file. She held it against her chest. What do you need me to do? Prepare the technical data. Everything. The specifications of the devices, the locations, the activation codes. We are going to broadcast all of it to every species in the galaxy. You want them to know everything? I want them to know that this is not a bluff. I want their scientists to verify our claims. I want them to understand, deep in their hearts, that if they destroy Earth, they destroy themselves. Helena nodded slowly. And if the Vrakthari do not believe us? If they keep attacking? Okonkwo's face became hard as stone. Then we give them a demonstration. We show them what happens when they ignore our warning. He walked to the door. Prepare the broadcast, Admiral. In 1 hour, humanity speaks to the galaxy for the last time. After tonight, they will never see us the same way again. He left the room. Helena stood alone with the file. The weight of 200 years of secrets pressed down on her shoulders. Humanity had become something terrible. Something that could end civilizations with the push of a button. But they had also become something else. They had become survivors. And tonight, the galaxy would learn what that meant. On 1,000 different worlds, screens flickered to life. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, in the war rooms of military commanders, in the homes of ordinary citizens, on ships traveling through the darkness between stars, everyone stopped what they were doing. Everyone watched. A human face appeared. An old man with white hair and dark skin. His eyes were tired but steady. Behind him, screens showed cities burning. The sound of explosions echoed in the background. Director Emmanuel Okonkwo looked into the camera and began to speak. My name is Emmanuel Okonkwo. I am the director of the United Earth Council. I am speaking to every species in the known galaxy. What I am about to say will change everything. I ask only that you listen. On the Vrakthari flagship, High Commander Zekthar watched with amusement. Another desperate human. Another meaningless speech. He had heard many such speeches as his forces conquered world after world. Continue the assault, he ordered his officers. This changes nothing. On the screens, Okonkwo continued. For 200 years, humanity has been attacked. 7 times, alien fleets have come to our world. 7 times, they have tried to destroy us. The Krixan burned Africa. The Morvathi poisoned our oceans. The Zelkari killed 2 billion of our people in a single day. His voice remained calm, but there was steel beneath the words. We survived. Every time, we survived. We rebuilt our cities. We buried our dead. We raised new generations of children who grew up knowing that the galaxy wanted them dead. He paused. And every time, we asked the same question. Why? Why do you attack us? We offered peace. We offered trade. We offered friendship. We had no empire. We made no threats. We simply wanted to live. On worlds across the galaxy, some viewers looked away. They remembered the attacks. They remembered how easy it had seemed, how weak the humans had appeared. We learned a terrible lesson, Okonkwo said. The galaxy does not reward kindness. The galaxy does not protect the innocent. In this universe, only the strong survive. Only the dangerous are left in peace. He leaned forward. So we became dangerous. The image on the screen changed. Technical diagrams appeared. Specifications, coordinates, data that made scientists across the galaxy sit up in shock. 200 years ago, we began a secret project. We called it Prometheus. Its purpose was simple: to make sure that if humanity was ever destroyed, we would not die alone. Okonkwo's face returned to the screen. We developed technology capable of destabilizing stars. Our devices can cause any star to collapse, to explode, to become a supernova that destroys everything within light years. Across the galaxy, military commanders began shouting orders. Scientists ran to their computers. Leaders demanded explanations. We have deployed over 3,000 of these devices throughout the galaxy. They orbit the home stars of every species that has shown hostility toward Earth. They orbit your military bases, your colonies, your capitals. He let those words sink in. And we have created automated systems. If Earth goes silent, if our transmissions stop, these systems will activate. Every device will fire. Simultaneously, on the Vrakthari flagship, High Commander Zekthar was no longer smiling. His scales had turned from gold to a pale gray. His officers looked at him with fear in their eyes. High Commander, one of them whispered. Our scientists are analyzing the data. They say, it is real. The technology is possible. The devices exist. Zekthar said nothing. He stared at the screen. Okonkwo continued speaking. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking that this is a bluff. That no species would really destroy itself just to destroy its enemies. That humans are too weak, too soft, too emotional to follow through on such a threat. His eyes hardened. You are wrong. For 200 years, we have watched our children die. We have buried millions of our people. We have seen our cities turn to ash, and our oceans turn to poison. We have nothing left to lose except our existence. And we have decided that our existence is not worth having. if it means living as prey, as victims, as a species that can be attacked whenever someone stronger decides they want our planet. He stood up from his chair. So hear me now, all of you. Hear the last warning that humanity will ever give. If you attack Earth again, any of you, we will not fight back. We will not negotiate. We will not surrender. We will simply ensure that whoever destroys us does not survive to celebrate. His voice rose. Another attack means absolute destruction. Not of Earth, of everything, of your homes, your families, your entire species. We will drag you into death with us, and the galaxy will be silent, forever. He paused, breathing heavily. This is not a threat. This is a promise. This is the promise of a species that has been pushed too far. A species that has been given no choice but to become the monster you created. The technical data returned to the screen. Coordinates, activation codes, everything that the galaxy needed to verify humanity's claims. Check our data, verify our claims. Send your ships to look for our devices. You will find them. You will understand that every word I have spoken is true. Okonkwo sat back down. His face was sad now. The anger had faded. I did not want this. No human wanted this. We wanted to be your friends. We wanted to explore the stars together, to share knowledge, to build something beautiful, but you would not let us. You saw our kindness as weakness. You saw our peace as an invitation to attack. You taught us that the only language the galaxy understands is violence. So now we speak your language. Fluently. He looked directly into the camera. To the Vraktari forces currently attacking Earth. You have 6 hours to withdraw completely from our solar system. Every ship, every soldier. Leave, and we will consider this matter closed. Stay, and we will demonstrate exactly what our devices can do. To every other species watching, remember this moment. Remember the day that humanity stopped asking for peace and started demanding it. Remember what you forced us to become. And remember this warning. It is the only one you will ever receive. The screen went dark. Across the galaxy, there was chaos. Leaders shouted at their advisors. Scientists ran calculations. Military commanders recalled their fleets. The Galactic Council demanded emergency sessions. On the Vraktari flagship, High Commander Zekthar stood frozen. His officers waited for orders. One of them finally spoke. High Commander, our scientists have confirmed. The devices are real. There is one orbiting our home star right now. If Earth activates it, our entire civilization will be destroyed. Zekthar's scales shifted through colors. Anger, fear, disbelief, more fear. It is a trick, he said, but his voice was uncertain. Humans do not have this technology. They are weak. They are prey. The data does not lie, High Commander. They have been preparing for this for 200 years. Zekthar looked at the screens showing Earth. Small, blue, fragile. A planet that should have been easy to conquer. They are insane, he whispered. They would destroy themselves just to destroy us. Perhaps that is what makes them so dangerous, High Commander. They have nothing left to lose. Zekthar was silent for a long moment. Then he began to laugh. A cold, bitter laugh. Nothing left to lose, he repeated. We thought we were hunting prey. But prey does not build weapons that can destroy stars. Prey does not create dead man switches. He looked at his officers. We have not been hunting prey. We have been poking a sleeping monster. And now it is awake. His officers waited. High Commander, what are your orders? Zekthar looked at Earth one more time. Then he made his decision. Continue the assault. The humans are bluffing. They do not have the will to destroy themselves. His officers exchanged worried glances, but they obeyed. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched and waited. The countdown had begun. 6 hours until humanity's ultimatum expired. 6 hours to see if the humans really meant what they said. 6 hours until the galaxy learned the truth about Earth's last warning. 6 hours passed. The Vraktari did not leave. Admiral Helena Vasquez stood in the command center, watching the screens. The assault had slowed, but it had not stopped. Vraktari soldiers were still fighting in the ruins of what used to be Berlin. Their ships still controlled the space around Earth. Time is up, said a young officer. They did not withdraw. Helena nodded. She had expected this. The Vraktari were proud. They had conquered 100 worlds. They did not believe that a small species from a single planet could threaten them. They were about to learn how wrong they were. She pressed a button on her console. Director Okonkwo. The deadline has passed. The Vraktari remain. Okonkwo's voice came through the speakers. He sounded tired but determined. I know, Admiral. I have been watching. It seems they need a demonstration. Sir, if we activate a device, there is no going back. The galaxy will know we are willing to use them. The galaxy needs to know that, Admiral. They need to understand that our warning was not empty words. Helena closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her face was calm. Which target? The Vraktari have a military staging system called Kethvora. 12 planets. No permanent population, only soldiers and weapons. It is where they gathered their forces before attacking us. You want to destroy an entire star system? I want to show them what will happen to their home system if they do not leave. Kethvora is uninhabited. No civilians. No children. Only military targets. If we must give a demonstration, this is the most merciful option. Helena looked at the screens. Cities were burning. Her people were dying. The Vraktari had shown no mercy to them. Understood, sir. I will prepare the activation. Across the galaxy, sensors detected the transmission from Earth. It was a simple signal. A code. Nothing more. In the Kethvora system, a small device that had floated silently in space for over a century suddenly came to life. It had been waiting for this moment since it was placed there by a human ship that no one had ever noticed. The device began to emit energy. Not much at first. But the energy was special. It was designed to interact with the forces that held a star together. On the Vraktari flagship, High Commander Zekthar received an urgent message. High Commander, we are detecting unusual readings from the Kethvora system. Our scientists say there is some kind of energy signature near the star. Zekthar felt something cold in his chest. Fear. What kind of energy? Unknown. But it is growing stronger. The star is becoming unstable. Zekthar pushed past his officers and ran to the main viewing screen. He brought up the sensor data from Kethvora. What he saw made his scales turn white. The star at the center of the Kethvora system was changing. It was pulsing, growing brighter. The planets around it were beginning to shake apart from the gravitational chaos. That is not possible, he whispered. Stars do not do that. High Commander, our scientists confirm. The star is collapsing. It will go supernova within the hour. Everything in the system will be destroyed. Zekthar watched in horror as one of the inner planets cracked like an egg. The oceans boiled away in seconds, mountains crumbled, and then the entire planet simply fell apart, pulled into the dying star. Our forces, he said. We have 12 million soldiers in that system. His officer's voice was barely a whisper. They are already dead. High Commander, the galaxy watched. On every world, on every ship, beings stared at their screens as the Kethvora system died. The star grew brighter and brighter until it hurt to look at. And then it exploded. The supernova was beautiful in a terrible way. A wave of fire that spread outward at incredible speed. Everything in its path was destroyed. Planets, moons, stations, ships. 12 million Vraktari soldiers were vaporized in an instant, and then there was nothing. Where a star system had existed for billions of years, there was only hot gas and radiation. On Earth, Director Okonkwo broadcast another message. This was your warning. One system, empty of civilians. We could have targeted your homeworld. We chose not to. We gave you mercy that you never gave us. His voice was hard as iron. But make no mistake, the next activation will not be so kind. If a single Vraktari ship remains in our solar system in 1 hour, we will activate the device orbiting your home star. Your entire species will be ended. Your civilization will become dust. Your children will never know that their parents existed. He paused. 1 hour. Leave. Now. On the Vraktari flagship, chaos had erupted. Officers were screaming. Some were crying. High Commander Zekthar stood silent in the middle of it all, staring at the empty space where Kethvora used to be. One of his officers grabbed his arm. High Commander, we must withdraw. They will destroy us. They will destroy everything. Zekthar slowly turned to look at him. His scales had lost all color. He looked like a ghost. 12 million soldiers, he said. Gone. In seconds. Like they never existed. High Commander, please. We must order the retreat. Zekthar looked at Earth on the screen. Small, blue, peaceful looking. We thought they were weak, he said. We thought they would surrender. We thought they would beg for their lives like all the others." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "They did not beg. They did not surrender. They built weapons that can destroy stars, and they hid them among us for 2 centuries. They watched us attack them again and again, and they never revealed what they could do." He turned to his officers. "Do you understand what that means? They could have stopped the first invasion. They could have shown this power to the Crixen and ended it before it began. But they chose not to. They endured 200 years of war rather than become what they are now." His voice dropped to a whisper. "We forced them to become this. We created this monster. And now we must live with what we have done." He straightened up. His scales slowly returned to their normal color. "All ships, all forces, full retreat. We are leaving Earth. High Commander, our soldiers on the ground, leave them. Anyone still on Earth when we leave is on their own. I will not risk our home star for soldiers who are already lost." The orders went out. Across Earth's surface, Vrakthari soldiers looked up at the sky as their ships began to rise. Many of them were left behind. They dropped their weapons and surrendered to the human forces. Within 30 minutes, the last Vrakthari ship had left Earth's atmosphere. Within an hour, they were out of the solar system entirely. Admiral Helena Vasquez watched them go. She felt no triumph, no joy, only a deep, cold emptiness. Director Okonkwo appeared on the screen beside her. "It is done," he said. "They are leaving." "Yes," Helena replied. "They are leaving. You should be celebrating, Admiral. We won. Humanity survives." Helena turned to look at him. Her eyes were wet. "Did we win, Director? We just destroyed a star system. 12 million beings died because of us. And now every species in the galaxy will look at us and see monsters." Okonkwo nodded slowly. "Yes. They will fear us. They will hate us. They will never trust us again." He paused. "But they will never attack us again either. Our children will grow up safe. Our cities will be rebuilt. Our people will live." He looked at the screens showing the retreating Vrakthari fleet. "I would rather be feared than dead, Admiral. I would rather be a monster than a memory. History will judge us harshly, but at least there will be a history. At least there will be humans alive to read it." Helena said nothing for a long moment. Then she nodded. "What happens now? Now we rebuild. Now we wait. And now we hope that we never have to use those devices again." He turned and walked away. Helena stood alone, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, the radiation from the destroyed system was spreading through space. A permanent reminder of what humanity could do. A permanent warning. She wondered if the galaxy would remember this day. She wondered if they would learn from it. She hoped they would, because the next time, there would be no empty star system. The next time, there would be no mercy. The next time would be the end of everything. 10 years had passed since the broadcast. The city of Geneva sparkled in the morning sun. New buildings stood where ruins had once been. Children played in parks that used to be battlefields. Life had returned to Earth, but everything had changed. The headquarters of the Galactic Council now stood on the shores of Lake Geneva. A massive building of glass and steel. It housed ambassadors from over 300 species. Flags from 100 worlds flew in the courtyard, and at the center of it all were humans. Admiral Helena Vasquez stood at a window on the top floor, looking out at the city she had helped save. Her hair was gray now. Her face showed the weight of years and decisions, but her eyes were still sharp. Behind her, a ceremony was taking place. The first class of human galactic peacekeepers was graduating. Young men and women in crisp uniforms, ready to serve across the galaxy, ready to keep the peace that had been bought with the threat of total destruction. A door opened. Director Okonkwo walked in slowly, leaning on a cane. He was over 100 years old now, but he had refused to miss this day. "Admiral," he said, "it is time for your speech." Helena nodded but did not turn from the window. "Do you remember what I asked you, Director? 10 years ago, after the Vrakthari left, you asked if we had won." "Yes. I have been asking myself that question every day since." Okonkwo walked to stand beside her. Together, they looked out at the peaceful city. "And what answer have you found?" Helena was quiet for a moment. "We survived. Our people are safe. Our planet is whole. By any measure, we won. But I see how the other species look at us now. I see the fear in their eyes. When a human enters a room, everyone goes quiet. When a human ship enters a system, Other ships move away. She turned to face him. We are not hated, Director. We are feared, and I'm not sure which is worse. Okonkwo nodded slowly. I understand. I feel it too. But let me tell you what I see. He pointed out the window. I see children who have never known war. I see cities that have never been bombed. I see a generation growing up without the sound of explosions in their nightmares. He turned to look at the graduating cadets. I see young people who will go out into the galaxy not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers. They will help other species. They will build bridges. They will show the galaxy that humanity is more than just the threat we made. He put a hand on Helena's shoulder. Yes, they fear us. Let them. Fear has kept us safe. Fear has given us time. Time to grow. Time to heal. Time to become something better than what we were forced to be. Helena looked at the young faces of the cadets. Hope, determination, idealism, things she had almost forgotten. You really believe we can change how they see us? I believe we must try. The Prometheus weapons will always exist. The fear will always be there. But what we do with the peace we have gained, that is up to us. He gently pushed her toward the stage. Go. Tell them what it means to be human. Tell them what we carry. Tell them to be better than we were. Helena walked to the podium. 300 young cadets looked up at her. Behind them, ambassadors from across the galaxy watched. Some with respect, some with fear, all with attention. She cleared her throat and began. 10 years ago, humanity made a choice. We chose to reveal the weapon we had hidden for 2 centuries. We chose to threaten the galaxy with total destruction rather than accept our own extinction. She paused. Many of you were children when that happened. You grew up in a galaxy that fears humanity. A galaxy where other species step aside when you walk by. Where your ships are never questioned. Where your word is law. Her voice grew harder. Do not let that go to your heads. Do not think that fear is the same as respect. Do not believe that because we can destroy, we are powerful. She looked out at the alien ambassadors. True power is not the ability to end life. True power is the ability to create it. To nurture it. To protect it. Any fool with a weapon can destroy. It takes wisdom to build. She turned back to the cadets. You are going out into a galaxy that remembers what we did. They remember the Kethvora system. They remember the supernova. They will never forget. Your job is to give them new memories. Better memories. You will help species rebuild after disasters. You will protect the weak from the strong. You will show them that humans can be trusted with power because we choose not to use it. Her voice softened. I know this is a heavy burden. I know it is not fair. You did not create the Prometheus weapons. You did not make the choice to reveal them. But you inherit the consequences of that choice. We bought your safety with fear. Now you must earn it with trust. She looked at each face in the crowd. Be kind. Be patient. Be just. Remember that every species you meet has families, dreams, hopes for the future. They are not so different from us. And remember this. The devices are still out there. Thousands of them. Orbiting stars across the galaxy. They are the price we paid for peace. They are the weight we carry. Never let anyone forget that humanity does not want to use them. Never let anyone forget that we chose mercy when we could have chosen destruction. But also never let anyone doubt that we will use them if we must. Peace requires strength. Kindness requires the ability to be cruel. The galaxy will only respect our mercy if they believe in our power. She straightened up. Go out there. Be the best of humanity. Show them who we really are. She saluted. 300 cadets saluted back. After the ceremony, Helena found herself alone on a balcony overlooking the lake. The sun was setting, painting the water in shades of orange and gold. She heard footsteps behind her. When she turned, she saw a young woman in a strange uniform. Not human. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes were large and violet. A Zelkari, one of the species that had once attacked Earth. Admiral Vasquez? The young woman asked. Her voice was soft, uncertain. Yes, my name is Vela. I am the new Zelkari ambassador to Earth. I arrived today. Helena nodded. Welcome to Earth, ambassador. Vela walked to stand beside her at the railing. Together, they looked out at the sunset. May I ask you something, Admiral? Of course. Why did you fight so hard? Your species, I mean. Against the Krixan, the Morvathi, my people, all the others. Why did you never surrender? Helena thought about the question for a long moment. Do you see that lake? She said finally. Yes. My grandmother used to swim in that lake when she was a child. Her mother did too. And her mother before her. For generations my family has lived beside this water. She turned to look at Vela. Earth is not just a planet to us. It is our home. Every mountain, every river, every forest, they are part of us. Our ancestors are buried in this soil. Our children will be born under this sky. She looked back at the sunset. When you attack Earth, you are not just attacking a planet. You are attacking everything we are. Everything we have ever been. Everything we will ever be. We fought because this is our home. And we will fight anyone, destroy anything, to protect it. Not because we are violent, not because we enjoy war, but because some things are worth more than survival. Vela was quiet for a while. I think I understand now, she said finally. My people thought you were weak because you did not conquer other worlds. We thought you were afraid. We were afraid, Helena admitted. But not of dying. We were afraid of becoming like the species that attacked us. We were afraid of losing what made us human. She smiled sadly. In the end, we lost some of it anyway. The Prometheus weapons changed us. But we saved enough. Enough to rebuild. Enough to hope. Vela looked at Earth, the blue oceans, the green continents, the white clouds. It is beautiful, she said. I have never seen a planet so alive. Yes, Helena agreed. It is. That is why we protect it. That is why we became the most dangerous species in the galaxy. She turned to face the young ambassador. Remember that, ambassador. Remember that humans did not want to be feared. We wanted to be friends. We wanted to explore the stars with you, not against you. But when you gave us no choice, we chose survival. And we will always choose survival. Vela nodded slowly. I will remember, Admiral. My people will remember. She turned and walked away. Helena watched her go. The sun finished setting. Stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, among those points of light, the Prometheus devices waited. Silent, patient, ready. Helena hoped they would never be used again, but she knew they would always be there. A reminder of what humanity could do. A warning of what would happen if anyone forgot. Earth's last warning to the galaxy. Another attack means absolute destruction. The galaxy had heard. The galaxy remembered. And Earth was finally safe.